today we are going to create a intensity landscape. So a landscape is just an outdoor scene. We're going to change the intensity of colors. We can also change the value of colors. So when I talk about color, color and hue are the exact same thing. They mean the same thing. Then we talk about intensity of colors. If they are right out of the tube, really, really bright, they are very intense. If I want to make them not quite so intense, I would add a little of its complement to it. And then I can change how bright it is by doing that. So if I add its complement, that would be the opposite on the color wheel. So you may want to reference your color wheel for this one. I told you that's a tool that you need to have available through this whole entire chapter and from this point moving forward in the course. If I want to change the value of a color in art, that means I'm going to change it and make it lighter or darker, and there's a whole value scale in here that I can use. So that's what we're going to do today. So you're going to use different values and intensities. Make sure that you reference your perspective devices to make things look like they are closer or farther away from you. And some of these are color and size, placement, the details, overlapping, and converging lines. We're going to use all of those today in our landscape. So when we start to paint, I want you to get your palette ready. Here's your primary colors, your blue, your yellow, and your red. If I mix these together, I will have orange. If I mix these two together, blue and yellow, I'll have green. And if I mix the blue and the red together, I will have purple. I can use black to lighten any of these colors. I can use to darken any of the colors, and I can use white to lighten any of the colors. You want to get 2 cups of water, and you'd like to have at least 1 paintbrush. So what we're going to do to start with, when we create a landscape, what you want to do is paint your background first. And you're going to work from the back to the front. So what I'm going to do is just take some of my water and I'm going to paint my background like this just with water. It's called a wash. From edge to edge, I'm using the side of this. It's not a huge paintbrush, but I'm just going to use the side. I want to get as much water down as quickly as I can. You don't want your paper to dry. Like so. And then it just depends on what kind of day you want. I don't want to see any of these colors used as pure colors. I want you to mix them somehow. So I'm going to put a little bit of blue over here on my palette, and I'm going to pull from the side of my paint, and mix it in. So I'm going to lighten my blue just a little bit like this, and then I'm just going to lightly put my background, put in paint, my background like this. I can dip it in water and move that around. I can pick up more white over here, and maybe as I get closer to my horizon line where the earth meets the sky, it'll get lighter and lighter as it meets. I don't want to see a big white space right here when it meets the ground. I have a lot of kids that will do that. They'll just do a little strip of blue and leave a big white area, and then they'll just do a little strip of green down here at the bottom. Well, that's what's going on with that big white space there. They need to meet. So add more paint if you need to. I'm going to kind of work my way down here, and then I'm going to put, this is my background, I'm going to put a little bit of the landscape down here in my foreground. So I'm going to pull my blue here. I want to maybe mix a little bit of my yellow to make a really pretty green. If I want it lighter or darker, I can do that. If I don't want it quite so bright, I want that a little bit lighter. If I don't want it quite so bright on my green, I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of its complement on my red, and I'm going to mix that in, and it really does change the brightness of that green. I'm going to go ahead and put my water down. I'm going to work really quickly. I have a nice little background to add all of my details. I'm working pretty quickly. You may take a little bit more time. I'm going to pull that green I made. I'm just going to lay it in here. It's not really dark. I don't need it to be. I just need to have a color in there. I like to not maybe overblend my colors too much. Just let them be. If some of that yellow is more yellow or blue in there, let it go. So I'm going to make it go and meet my sky. If I were you, I'd probably let it sit for a minute or go over to the counter and hit it with a heat gun or a blow dryer and let it dry a little bit. But for demonstration purposes today, I'm not going to do that. I think I would like to add maybe a mountain range back there. So I'm going to mix up some pretty gray. I still like to mix a little bit of blue or another color into these. And then I can go back here and just kind of put a jagged little, pull up some white, and then, oh, that's cool. And don't overblend. This is where your inner Bob Ross comes in right here. And then I can, so you see how I'm working from the background? I'm going to work up here to the front of my paper. So I am changing the values by adding white and black. I mean, I'm not worried about being perfect. I'm going to pick up some more white. Don't overblend. Let it be. Maybe I'm going to put one way back here. Just kind of think of a place you want to go. It can be anywhere. Mountains, it could be a beach. It all kind of works the same. If you're going to shade, like if I want my mountains dark on this side, I would make them all dark kind of on that side, because that tells me the sun's coming from this direction. So I can create that illusion as well. I do not need to see a sun and a smiley face and rays coming out of the corner of my paper. If I can see my objects, I know that there is light outside. If there was no sun, I wouldn't be able to see any of this. Okay? So something like that. Then I'm going to move forward. I'm going to put maybe a little tree line in. I'm going to pull up some of my blue. I'm going to pull up some of my yellow. It takes a lot more yellow in any of your colors than it does the rest. So just a little bit of blue or red will do a lot with that. So I'm just going to take this. I'm not going to blend. I'm going to add a little bit of red again so it's not such a bright green. Mix it on the side of my plate, and then I'm just going to put a little, this is all technique painting. I'm just going to put a little bunch of trees back here. I could make it look like it's snowing, but I probably wouldn't have put any green down here. It could be snowing back here in the mountains, but probably not down here in the front. I'm going to pick up some more yellow and just kind of put it on top. Gives me some light. I'm going to pick up some more blue, and that gives me the shadows in there. Make some of them go up. Okay, that's good. Just whatever you feel like doing. All right. I could put a little pond in here if I want to. I'm going really, really fast, y'all. Take your time. Maybe put a little pond in here. Maybe a little white. Just keep picking up these colors, creating some values, creating some different intensities. If I wanted to make my blue not quite so bright, I would add just a little bit of orange. So I'm just going to make orange over here on my palette, right here. Make that blue not quite so bright, and then I will put it in here. So I want to see you changing your values and your intensities. I'm going to make brown by mixing all three of my primary colors. Just like this in the middle, I'm going to make this really pretty brown in here because I need to make a riverbank. I would see it on this side. 2 blue, more orange. Reference your color wheel, more yellow. There we go. So there's my little riverbank. And I can go back and pick up, I can make some little stuff growing out of it. all sorts of things. I can make a tree, maybe overlapping here in front of everything. That's one of my perspective devices. Make some brown. Let your tree branches go all over. So you see how I'm working from the background to the foreground, and I'm overlapping all of this. I know this tree is in front of all of it, and then I would definitely want to probably go back and add some. Let those branches peek through on your trees. You know they're there. I think you guys, this will look way better than what I'm doing right now, but this is just demonstration. Have fun with it. If you don't like the first one, go back and try it again. It's fun. It should be fun. Don't be stressing. Have fun with this. Oh, that looks like a nice place to be. I think I'd like to go there. I can still keep working on my landscape. I can add some, colors and grasses and things like this in here. But if I start here, I want to start in the back, make them smaller, work my way here, and then when they get down here to the bottom, they will overlap everything and be bigger. Okay, so that's what we're working on today. Happy painting, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.